Hello and welcome to the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life. My name is Kyle Case and I'll be your host on this amazing journey as we attempt to help you get the most out of your life. Joining me in the studio today is my co-pilot, Jeff Harding. Jeff, how are you today?
Kyle, great to see you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
it is great for you to see me.
Yes, I haven't seen you. It's been so long. It's just great to see you.
Well, I'm glad that you could be with us today and be a part of the show. It's such an awesome thing to do.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
So, Jeff, this happens to all of us. Every one of us. We walk into a room. We can't remember why we're there. We put down our keys. We can't find them again. This happens to all of us, right?
You're describing my life, yes.
we affectionately refer to these experiences as
senior moments.
Senior moments, right? I mean, we all have those, and it seems like as we get older, they come more regularly or more frequently. It turns out, Jeff.
Wait, what am I doing here?
Yeah, exactly. What's this microphone doing in my face?
There's something in my face. What's it here for?
Well, it turns out, and of course we all know this, that the brain, like any other muscle, can be strengthened through exercise. We know that. We've heard that. Yes. There have been studies that have shown that time after time after time. And I found an article in Health Magazine that gives 5 ideas on how to keep your brain engaged and strong and hopefully, ideally, cut down on these senior moments, okay?
I can probably remember 5 ideas. Let's go for it.
Okay, well, let's see if we can do it. There will be a quiz at the end. So maybe you want to take some notes. I don't know.
Give me a pen.
Okay. The first one, this is a great one. This is a good one for you, Jeff. Take dance lessons.
I've actually done that.
Have you? Yeah. Well, I know you're a good dancer.
Yeah.
During the Huntsman World Senior Games, of course, we have socials for our athletes, and many of them incorporate music and dancing and things like that. And so I've actually seen you dance, and you are really a great dancer. But listen to this. They found on a study of seniors who danced 3 to 4 times a week, which is quite a bit, but still, 3 to 4 times a week, especially those who ballroom danced, had a 75% lower risk of dementia compared with people who did not dance at all.
I wonder where our square dancers would rate on that
Wouldn't
scale.
That be interesting?
Yeah,
I would be interested to see if that followed through on square dancing as well.
Right.
And I would suspect that it does.
Because it's even more challenging than a lot of ballroom dancing.
Right. But they found that dancing is a complex activity, obviously. It engages your brain. It also is aerobic, so it improves blood flow to the brain, which has been shown to improve brain function.
Speaking of those two, just a quick story. My wife and I were taking a Latin dancing class at Dixie State here locally. And at one point, the teacher stopped the lesson and looked at me and said, "Do you need to lie down?"
It was an aerobic activity, right?
Aerobic, true story, yes.
Well, interestingly enough, dancing can strengthen your brain, which was kind of interesting to me. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah.
But something that we can do to make our brain stronger. Number 2, this is another good one. Play an instrument. So I think that makes sense. I mean, whether you play the piano, a ukulele, I think a nose harp. Maybe not a nose harp.
But I have relatives who, like my aunt, plays the violin.
Yeah.
She's in her mid-70s and she still plays in the local symphony orchestra. So
wow. Yeah, and her brain is sharp, at least as far as you can tell. Yeah. Awesome. Well, again, researchers have found that people who played an instrument for 10 years or more, they found that correlated with better memory in advanced age compared with those who played for 10 years or less or not at all. And they also have found, and you've probably heard this before, but they found that listening to music can also improve your brain power, especially certain types of music. And they have found that Baroque music, which is like Vivaldi or Bach.
Very mathematic in its nature.
Yes. They found that listening to that style of music leads to changes in the brain that help with attention and storing events into memory.
Wow.
So two things that we can do: dance and play an instrument.
Or listen to Vivaldi.
Or listen to Vivaldi, which is maybe easier than both, but also beneficial.
Right.
Here's another one. Jeff, take up knitting.
That one might be a little rough.
Really? You don't think you could do it?
No.
Well, now listen to this. Maybe you'll change your mind.
Okay.
Activities that put your hands to work, like knitting, crocheting, even gardening, they're proven that they're stress relievers, first of all, but they also may help keep your brain young. They did a survey in 2013. They surveyed 3,500 knitters around the world. And there was a correlation between knitting frequency and cognitive functions. So the more people knitted, the better function they had in their brains.
So does crochet count?
Crocheting counts, yes.
My
Knitting,
grandmother
crocheting.
crocheted up until 92 or 93 years old.
And was she sharp at the end of her life?
Well,
mentally?
She was up until about the time she stopped crocheting, or then that's when we saw the decline.
Isn't that interesting? Anyway, something that keeps your hands busy also exercises your brain. Here's one that I think both of our wives will appreciate. Wash the dishes.
I do that.
Well, good for you. That's good. It's actually healthy for you.
And I'm not talking about rinsing him and putting him in the dishwasher.
You mean actually washing the dishes, right?
Yes.
Well, they found that getting an optimal amount of physical activity, and even washing dishes, cooking, cleaning can add to your daily activity total. They found that being active, obviously, at least I think it's obvious, is linked with a reduced risk of dementia.
Wow.
So being active can reduce dementia. In a study, they found people with the least amount of total physical activity were more than twice as likely to develop Alzheimer's compared with people who reported the most activity.
And I've seen that too. I would have to agree with that.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. And then the final thing is to just ramp everything up. Whether it's physical activity or mental activity, you need to keep pushing your limits in order to reap the benefits. So we shouldn't just be satisfied with finishing Monday's easy crossword puzzle, for example, but we need to push ourselves on Saturday's brain teaser. And that goes with physical activity as well.
Right.
You know, if you're walking, that's great, but maybe pick up the pace, maybe move to a jog. But ramping up our activity, whatever it is, mentally or physically, will both benefit the brain.
Right.
So anyway, some interesting things that we can do to help strengthen our the important muscle that is the brain.
That's right.
So which of those are you going to incorporate?
I'm
probably the knitting.
Listening to Baroque music is probably
okay. I like that one too. I think I'm going to put that one on my list as well. Anyway, it's all interesting stuff, and of course, it's all part of living the active life, which is what this show is all about.
That's right.
And speaking of the active life and overall health and wellness today, one of our unique services that we offer at the Huntsman World Senior Games is our health screening program.
That's
now,
right.
Jeff, you're actually over that,
That's
so you're very familiar with that. We offer a battery of more than a dozen different health screenings to our athletes, free of charge, that helps them get a handle on important health issues. And of course, it's not designed to replace regular doctor visits, but it can give an indication of some potential problems.
Mm-hmm.
So our guest today is one of our amazing athletes. Joining us by telephone today is Alexx Stuart. Alexx, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, gentlemen.
Good. We're so glad that you could join us.
My pleasure.
So Alexx plays softball at the Huntsman World Senior Games, and he is, of course, in very good company. We host around 340 softball teams each year at the Huntsman World Senior Games. And Alexx had a pretty amazing experience with our health screening program. And Alexx, we definitely want to get into that in just a minute. But first, let's talk a little bit about softball. Have you played softball your whole life? Did you play as a kid, or was that something that you got into later on?
Well, I was infatuated with baseball starting at about age 3, and so every year since then, and I'm 64 now, I've played either baseball or softball every year.
Since you were 3 years old?
About 18, and then I've played slow pitch softball ever since.
That's impressive.
The great redeeming factor when I moved to Arizona when I was 49 was I thought my softball days were done, and then I found out there was senior softball. And I started playing, and I've been playing the senior softball for about 15 years now.
Wow, that is excellent. And you live in Arizona?
I do. I grew up in Minnesota and lived there, and then my wife and I moved to Arizona in our late 40s.
So the move to Arizona probably allowed you a little bit more time on the softball field than the time that you spent in Minnesota. Is that correct?
Well, yes. In Minnesota, there really wasn't much for senior softball. I had continued to play there on the young man's team, and that was once a week. But down here in Arizona, you can play senior softball if you want to virtually every day of the week.
And year round. I mean, up there you get the 3 weeks of summer in Minnesota, and then you're back to cold weather.
Well, the last 2 years we lived full time in Arizona the last 17 years, but we bought an RV 2 years ago, and so we take 6 months in the summer to drive around the country, see the sights, and annoy people.
And annoy people. That's an important part. Well, that sounds like great. It sounds like kind of a fun adventure. So in addition to softball, Alexx, have you played other sports competitively, or has that kind of been your focus?
Well, growing up, my main sport was basketball. I mean, I loved baseball, but I was better at basketball. I was, in high school, I was the captain of the basketball team. I was all conference. In college, I played 1 year at the University of Michigan, and I ended up playing 3 years at a Division III school in southern Minnesota named Carleton College, and I was the captain of the team there. But I really loved baseball and softball more, and so basketball faded away, but softball never did.
Well, that's great. And softball is such a great sport. It's one of those things that not everyone considers or immediately thinks of as a lifetime sport, but it really is a lifetime sport. It's one that you can play well into the golden years and really enjoy yourself and just have a great time. So that's awesome. So over the years that you've played as a senior, Alexx, do you play with the same team, or do you kind of bounce around depending on the situation, or how does that work out for you?
My 15 years down here playing ball pretty much divided into two teams. The first team, I played some pickup ball, and a fella said, "You want to play on my team?" The team was called the Buzzards, like the old Buzzards, and I played with them for quite a few years. But that was all pretty much local, playing in the Phoenix area. And then a fellow named Jim Erickson, who I played against for quite a few years, he himself was a great player, was putting together a tournament team that would travel around California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona. And he asked me to play on that team with the kind of hand-picked about 14 guys to play. And so it's called the ROX, R-O-X. And that's been my main team for 5 years now.
Well, that's awesome. So it sounds like you're getting plenty of opportunities to play softball.
Yes, yeah. They play in January, February, March. They probably play at least 2 tournaments a month. And on a weekend, that can be anywhere from 4 to 6 games. And then they always playing the Huntsman games in October. And then we're also the defending senior Olympic over 60 softball gold medalists. We were in Cleveland 2 summers ago when we won that, and we'll be going to Minneapolis this summer as 65-year-olds. Somehow, amazingly, we're getting older, and we'll be playing in the Senior Olympics in Minneapolis in July.
Well, that's great. Congratulations on what has so far been an amazing career, and good luck as you continue with it. It sounds great. We will also be at Minneapolis, and so maybe we'll run into each other. Sounds
great. Great.
So let's talk a little bit.
Just one other thing. Our time at the Huntsman Games, we've been pretty successful. In our 4 years there, we've won a gold, a silver, and I think 2 bronze. So we've finished high every year.
Well, that is great, and it's worth noting that with 340 teams that participate at the Huntsman World Senior Games, getting a medal is pretty awesome. I mean, it's something that people are proud of, and rightfully so. There's, of course, within those 340 teams, a lot of different divisions, but to rise to the top really is an accomplishment. So, again, congratulations to you guys. That's great.
Thank you very much.
So let me ask you this, Alexx. How many years have you been coming out to the Huntsman World Senior Games?
I played in 4, so since 2011, 12, 13, and 14 I've played.
Okay. Excellent.
Well, now let's let's go to something that's kind of near and dear to my heart. Let's talk about the story of what you experienced in 2011 when you took advantage of our health testings.
Yeah, I refer to that as how the Huntsman Games saved my life. I hadn't been to a doctor in quite a few years because, of course, I'm so darn healthy.
And you're a man.
I walk 3 miles every day. I've been doing that for years. And I play ball a lot. I was playing with racquetball at least once a week. And I got down to the Huntsman Games, and I thought, they've got a health screening, and it's free. So how can I go wrong there? My wife and I went through this health screening. There were maybe, 12 to 15 stations, hearing and balance and blood pressure and everything. And I passed through everything, no problem at all. And I got to the final station, which was a glucose, a blood sugar screening, and they had the young college ladies, gals from Dixie College, who were there helping out, doing the blood screening. And when the young lady tested mine, she looked at it, shook it, the meter, and said, "This must be broken. Let me go get another one."
Those are never words that you want to hear at a health fair or at a screening. This must be broken.
Right. Yeah. In your blood sugar, you want it to be under 120, and mine registered 580, which probably wasn't good.
No.
She called the doctor over immediately, and the doctor said to me, "Well, you need to go to the hospital right away." And, of course, I felt fine, and we were in the gold medal championship game that night. And I said, "No, I've got to play ball tonight."
Spoken like a true man and athlete.
Yeah, and she argued with me, and then she argued with my wife, and finally she got me to agree to go to the doctor the next day. So we played in the game, took silver, and the next day my wife and we drove back to Scottsdale, and then I went to the emergency room there, where I found out, due to the Huntsman Games health screening, that I did indeed have diabetes.
Wow.
From there, it just, I started seeing quite a few doctors, and within 2 or 3 doctors, within a week or so, they determined that I had heart problems, blockage to my heart. That 3 of the veins were 98% black.
Oh, my word.
And you had
I
energy.
probably wouldn't have found that out because I thought I felt fine. And without the screening, they said that I was kind of a ticking time bomb. So within, it was on January 10th, I went in for triple bypass surgery. And since that day and since my diabetes, I've learned I can't eat potatoes or rice or bread or anything with sugar. I had to say my farewells to Dairy Queen and Baskin Robbins.
And, I'm sorry.
Lost about 30 pounds, but still playing ball and feeling great these last 3 years since the heart surgery.
Well, that really is an awesome, really an amazing story. Thanks for sharing that. If you're just joining us, you're listening to the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life, and we're visiting with Alexx Stuart, who has been a softball player at the Games for the past several years and has been really on the receiving end of some valuable health information that he received at the Huntsman World Senior Games health screening program that ultimately, as Alexx said, kind of led to some life-saving discoveries. So we're excited about that, to hear that, Alexx, and I'm certain that you are as well.
I am. I think that health screening that they offer, and again, offer for free, is not that you should worry about money when your health's involved, but it just makes it easier to not put it off, and it's just a wonderful benefit of the Huntsman team.
Well, we're just excited that it worked out for you, and it's interesting how you went and you found one thing, which was your blood sugar that was high, but thankfully that led to the discovery of something else that was, just as, if not more, serious, and then you were able to take care of it. That's really a success story. We love to hear those kinds of things.
Well, yeah, I'm glad to be able to come on the air and tell that story.
Alexx, I want to know, how has your life changed since you've learned about the diabetes? What changes have you had to make to your life besides just giving up Baskin Robbins and a few foods? And how are you coping with the changes?
My wife, Deidre, is an incredible cook. And so, of course, that didn't help all the years when she cooked so well that I ate so much. But she's a fanatic when it comes to attacking a problem. And as soon as she saw this diabetes problem, she actually went out and began developing a diet for me that would be not only good for being a diabetic, but would also be good heart healthy, which sometimes those 2 diets aren't always in compliance with each other.
No. Right.
She actually attended the Arizona State University, taking classes and in the process of writing a cookbook for diabetic heart patients.
Oh, wow.
And, she has made, whenever we have a food that I like but I can't eat, she goes out and tries to figure out how to make it so similar in taste and yet healthy that I don't notice the difference. And she's accomplished quite a bit. And she makes a chocolate icebox cake that I normally couldn't ever eat, but she makes it with a stevium, a substitute sugar, and some sugar-free angel food cake. That's just the best example of something she makes for me. That we tested it. My glucose barely goes up at all after I have that.
Wow.
In the past, that kind of cake would have shot me up over into the 200s.
Well, Alex, she sounds like a keeper. I would hang on to her if I were you.
I'm doing my darn best.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really fascinating that she's gotten so far into it that she's been able to put together some recipes in a cookbook. I think that's probably not only...
We have friends that ask her, and she hasn't finished the cookbook yet, but she emails or Facebooks these recipes to friends that ask for them, and when we've had company over for dinner, we'll feed them a diabetic appropriate dinner that they're not even aware of, and they'll rave about the dinner.
Wow.
And afterwards, we'll tell them how healthy it was, and they'll be so darn surprised because most people think eating healthy means eating cardboard and old shoes and anything that doesn't sound good.
Well, so the ripples continue. You know, what really was helpful and affected you is now reaching out beyond you guys and helping other people.
I think the game should take credit for that cookbook once it's done, too.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be where he will mention the games in the cookbook.
Well, that's very kind. That's very kind. So let me ask you this, Alex. You find out that you're diabetic. You find out that you've had some heart problems. Was there ever a time when you thought, you know, I'm going to hang this up. I'm going to hang it up. I'm not going to be able to play softball anymore. I'm done. Did you ever feel that way? And if so, how did you overcome it?
Okay. First off, absolutely not. Never thought I'd give up softball. The surgery was on January 10th. The doctor said you can go back to playing ball on 3 months, April 10th. On April 10th, I was back out on the field. The only thing I've kind of given up is we used to hike a lot, and I still hike, but I don't hike up things anymore. That's where I have my most trouble, like mountain climbing or mountain hiking. And so my wife, who is going to be doing the Grand Canyon hike down, staying overnight, and then hiking out the next day, she's going to do that on Easter. And that was always a dream of ours, but it looks like she'll have to do it with a friend. So that would be the one thing that's probably a little too strenuous for my heart now.
But you've still been able to be active and just kind of take full advantage of life, it sounds like.
Yeah, I actually am compulsive enough to keep track, but I have today is day 1,111 that I've walked at least 3 miles every day.
Wow.
So today is 11/11. That I make sure I at least walk the 3 miles, and then in addition to that, play some softball a couple times a week.
Which is just a great example. I mean, Amazing. That's awesome. Where do you find the time? Do you do it in the morning? Do you do it in the evenings? What works best for you?
Well, remember we're 64, and while I'm not retired, I do work myself, so I can do it whenever I want. But I pretty much find the best thing is to get up and get it over with in the morning. So I get up at 7 a.m. and usually at 7:30 or 8, I'm out walking. I've got a route in the neighborhood that's exactly 3 miles, and I try to walk that every morning.
So you've got a system.
At times, if I've ever forgotten, there's been 1 or 2 times where it'll be 11 o'clock at night, and I'll realize I didn't do my walk, and I get the flashlight out, and my wife usually gets a jacket on, and we go do the 3 miles at 11 o'clock at night with flashlight.
Well, you know, if you just did 6 miles, you do both days at the same time. To do it right, I feel I have to do it between midnight and one day to midnight of the next day. So.
Well, thank you, Alex.
A lot of people say, yeah, you could just walk 6 miles in one day and nothing. But as soon as I don't walk one day, then it's too easy to go, oh, well, I guess I can skip for a week, and then I can skip for a month, and the next thing I know, I'm back up 30 pounds.
All right, Alex, thank you. That's all the time that we've got for today, but thank you so much for joining us. For more information on the Huntsman World Senior Games, visit www.seniorgames.net. And until next Thursday, stay active.
Bye, everybody.